Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about characterization. Authors include different characters, obviously, but then we want to look at who are they as a character? Like, what do they like? What do they dislike? Things like that. And that's where we really get to learn not only about the characters, but about ourselves.
So something important to note about characters is that they will display character traits, and these character traits can develop and change over the time of the story. Characters always have motivations or reasons for their behaviors and why they do things that they're doing.
There's several different ways of describing characters, two of which are the differences between protagonist and antagonist. The protagonist is typically the leading character and is typically the hero. So think like Simba in Lion King or Aladdin in Aladdin. The antagonist is actively against the protagonist. So in terms of Lion King, it would be Scar. In terms of Aladdin, it would be Jafar.
There's always going to be, when you're reading or writing a story, you'll have those main characters. They're the most important to the story. They're involved in the conflict. We want to know if they make it or not make it. But then you have those minor characters. The story isn't centered on them. However, they really help with the plot, continuing on that plot line.
Lastly, there's the difference between dynamic and static characters. Dynamic characters are characters that go through big changes as the plot unfolds. They might go from being they might be like an antagonist, they might become a protagonist, stuff like that. Or there's the static characters who they stay the same throughout the entire story. So I just always remember static, stay the same. Yeah.
So character traits. These are the qualities shown by a character, and it can happen in a variety of different ways. There is definitely that physical traits that a character will have, and that is just like your hair color, eye color. It also can be their personality. You could be really shy or rambunctious. Some writers will directly say the traits, and you will know exactly how that character acts or behaves. But more often than not, authors use inference, and you are going to have to use context clues from what you're reading to determine what are the traits of that character. Some examples would be courageous, humble, generous, or wild.
Now, take a moment and think to yourself, what are 3 of your own character traits going beyond just physical? Think about your personality.
Lastly here, characterization. It's the way the writer creates and develops character. Character development is so huge. There could be direct comments about a character through the voice of a narrator, or you might need to interpret it once again.
You'll notice that characterization and character traits are really similar because it involves that inference, that interpretation.
You will get to know the character through their thoughts, their speech, and their actions between other characters. It's kind of like real life. You get to know your friends, the people you hang out with, people you don't hang out with, your classmates through this.
Now take a moment to stop and think, what are some character traits that you could apply to one of these characters just based on this image? Go beyond just thinking about physical. I mean, stating a physical is fine, but then also, what about our personality? Say at least one thing about personality here. So right now, Miss Hanson, what's a character trait about me?
You have a beautiful hairdo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. I love it.
But that's just what?
That's a physical character trait.
How could I go beyond physical? I'd have to say something about your...
Disney!
Oh, boy.